All right. Hey, Ken, how's it going?
Good. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Good. All
Good.
right. So we have an exciting opportunity. It looks like you're interested in the assistant manager position. And so I was just wanting to see if you could tell me a little bit about why this position interests you and what you're hoping to accomplish with this role.
Okay. Yeah. I've kind of thought about it. I've been with the company now 5 years, and I'm a hard worker, and really for me, the bottom line is just money. Like, I really want to get married to my girlfriend. Um, I'd like to further my education, and I really can't do that on the salary that I'm making. And so all I can really see is that I would need to take an additional, like get a promotion or pay increase in order to, just to like, make that happen in my life. So that's really the main motivation, is for me to like, move to the next step of my life.
Okay. Yeah, that's really exciting. Congratulations on the
Oh, thanks.
engagement.
Thanks.
Um, okay. So it looks like your salary right now, you're at 32,000 a year. So
Mm-hmm.
what are you hoping you could be at? What's your expectation or your,
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
idea of what that dollar amount would be?
like, yeah, so I think the dollar amount that I've come up with is about like $5,000, for me to be able to, work towards my goals, and, just kind of, I feel like that's the number that I'm hoping to achieve, is that $5,000.
Okay. It looks like your role as a produce manager, your job description would change quite a bit. And the expectations, as you are aware, as you've kind of seen with your experience, it's going to be quite a bit more investment into the job rather than just one department. You're kind of responsible for the whole entire store.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so, in order to kind of justify a little bit more in the salary, we would have to I need the person in this role to be able to kind of meet those higher expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you see yourself as far as, adding on a little bit more responsibility, a little bit of a change up in your schedule? Is there room in your schedule for that to happen?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh, yeah, so I think my strengths are like, that the team really likes me. I tend to work hard. I definitely am not perfect sometimes with all the details, but, perhaps we could, figure out how to organize, and have me work in the areas that are my strengths once they're identified in the new role. So, um, and then have some accountability in the areas that I'm not so good at. Um, I think we'd have to work through just kind of what the job description is. So I really know what I'm responsible for. Maybe together we could identify, where I'm struggling so that I can be aware of it. Um, and then what was the second part of your question? I feel like there was a second part.
Just the flexibility of your
Oh
hours.
yeah, flexibility. Okay, yeah. And then for hours, what's really hard is that I commute, quite a ways to, I think it's 45 minutes each way to get to work. So I think if I knew ahead of time, what would be required of me for, hours, I think that I could make it work. I just would need to plan accordingly, in order to help make sure that, I know you have a lot going on with your family and your kids, and I want to be able to support you so that you can rely on me to be there. And I think as long as I know ahead of time, I know things come up, but if I kind of know ahead of time, then I can, be there for you, and hopefully support you so that you can, help take care of your family and everything you have going on.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm looking for in this role. And I've interviewed some other people and I'm going to continue to interview. I do need someone that's going to be able to step in and take over from where I am, and
Mm-hmm.
someone that's going to add value to the store. and not just be a fill-in and not just be a warm body, but
Mhm.
really add to the organization and the overall functioning of the store,
Mhm.
especially when I'm not here.
Mhm.
I work a lot of overtime. I work a lot of differing hours. Um, and we could work a very, predictable schedule, but
Okay.
also flexible. So
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
looking for a little bit of flexibility. As you know, my husband, I have to go home and do treatments with him, and that's pretty predictable. But then there's going to be some appointments here and there that I might have to shift days off
Mhm.
and kind of have someone fill in, and that
Mhm.
would be you. And so I'm just hoping that that would be workable and you would be able to
Mhm.
fill in with that. That'd be
Mhm.
an expectation of the role.
Okay. Yeah, and I kind of did the math, and would expect to work, just some additional hours. I think it came out, if my goal was, $5,000 a year, that ends up being about 6 hours a week, to kind of make up that difference, whether it be in additional roles or additional support in whatever area you need me. So in my mind, I've kind of, conceded that I would need to put in, it at, at at least some extra time close to that 6 hours to justify, getting the increase of, $5,000. So that's kind of how I, in my mind, kind of, thought through, well, what could I, offer? And I think it would be about 6 extra hours of time, hopefully a little bit less. Maybe it wouldn't always be 6, but that really gets me to the $5,000, even if I stay in my own current role, working that overtime, because I'm not working any overtime right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's another option, is to think about it that way, that working additional hours to help you or support the team could get me to that $5,000 goal as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's a reasonable goal. I'm going to tell you what, I do have some concerns with kind of the speed and maybe the energy that you've had, and I don't know if it's, if you're just burned out of that role. Um, and I don't know if we just need additional training, some more education.
Mm-hmm.
But I would need performance at a little bit of a higher level
Mm-hmm.
before I can invest a whole lot of money. I have not been given any budget to be able to offer a whole lot more money. But what I am willing to offer is mentorship and education, and putting you through as many classes as you want if you would like to kind of be on a manager track, which
Mm-hmm.
is what sounds like you kind of want if you're planning on building a future and making more money in the future and getting a little bit more of a predictable schedule with your fiance.
Mm-hmm.
So I can start with going up to a $2,500 a year raise,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of give a little bit of a, maybe a 90-day evaluation and see where we're at with that, and see if we can fill into that role a little bit better and kind of get some of those skills built up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
How does
Mm-hmm.
that sound?
Yeah, I think actually that sounds really reasonable. I think that's, I was also gonna just mention, maybe if we could do check-ins, or like a 90-day review, so that if, financially, I'm showing that I'm contributing to an increase in revenue, um, overall, that, it would be considered for that, additional pay. And then if possible, I'd really like to, work some additional overtime if necessary, to get, if it's available and I can work the overtime, or if that you would, have me as the assistant manager, just ask me first, hey, Ken, would you like to work some overtime? I know you're trying to reach that $5,000 a year goal. And I think that can, coupled with the $2,500, that seems like that's a really like achievable goal, right? Is
I
the
think so.
increase. Yeah. So if you could offer that to me, as long as we're doing the check-ins and I like are meeting, your expectations, that would be really important to me. So I could really try to get to that goal.
Okay, we can do that. What we'll set up 90-day check-ins. We'll start out with 3 of those, so every 90 days, and then we'll go from there and see if we need less or more, and see what we need after
Okay.
we do that. But that'll get us at about 6 to 9 months.
Okay. Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we will kind of reevaluate at that point and take it from there. So I'm really excited that you're on board, and I think you're going to add some value to the store you already have with your role as a produce lead, and I think you're going to do great as an assistant manager.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. I think that's great. Thank you,
Okay,
Kate.
see you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.